Hi guys, I'm Greg from Zoho Expert. Today I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to send documents for signature on Zoho Sign using a really cool workaround that I've discovered for my business. So sometimes when you are working within your usual workflow, you need to send customized documents to your clients. Now, you don't want to have a completely manual process, especially when you're expecting your employees to do this for you. So you want to have some control over what your employees can send out and what they can't. And a really cool way to do this is to involve Zoho Forms. So to start with, I'm Greg from Zoho Expert. This is our YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate if you would subscribe, if you'd like our videos, and if you would comment on our videos to help us grow our channel. Okay, so on with the video. So we're in Zoho CRM, and we're going to be working on the deals module. Let me just bring up a demo deal. Okay. Now, you'll see here that I have this button that says Send Deal Contract. Now, that's from my testing and messing about before I'm creating this video to show you guys. Before we get into this video, I just want to point out that there are easier ways to have a button that creates and sends a document to Zoho Sign. There's a really good marketplace extension that you can download to do this. The reason I'm doing this through a button is just to show you guys how you can do this through Deluge Script. But the way you would normally use this in your business would be as part of a workflow or a blueprint. So you would get to a stage in your blueprint where, for example, the client has agreed to go ahead with the work. Your employee would click the blueprint button, and that would then initiate the sending of this document. So if you're in your blueprint, I'll just show you real quick. So when you're in your blueprint, you will have the option to run a function after the blueprint has transition has moved to the next stage. So for example, we'll just do it here with requested. So we'll say after requested custom actions, and then you can choose a function here. So for example, I can't choose that function, so let's just write a new function, send contract for signing. And this is why you would want to have this be available to you as an option in Deluge Script. Because if you are just going to be sending documents via buttons on the records, then you should be using the marketplace extension. But for us in our business, we have a specific stage in the blueprint where we use the Deluge Script that I'm going to teach you later in this video. And you would paste that code here, and you would have it run from your blueprint, and then it would automatically go and do what we're showing you later in this video. So we're going to go to Forms because we are leveraging Forms for this. We're going to create a new form, and we're going to call this Deal Contract. Okay, now in this deal contract, we're just going to put a few basic details here. So let's put, let's say, customer name, and we're going to set this as mandatory, and we're going to disable this field. We're going to set a signer name. Because the customer might be a business. We're going to set this as mandatory and disable. We're going to set a signer email address. again, mandatory, disabled. We're going to set the deal value. I'm working in pounds. That's strange, United Kingdom pounds. Okay, we're going to set this as mandatory and disabled. And now we're going to set the deal description. Now this might be the field that you want to let your employee edit. So we won't disable this field. And then we're going to have one more field that we'll call deal name. Okay, and mandatory, and again, let's let the employee edit that one. All right, so now we have all of our fields that we need. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to settings, and we're going to go to field aliases. And this basically allows us to fill those fields in remotely. So customer name, we're going to assign to CN. Signer name, we're going to assign to SN. Signer email, we'll do SE. Deal name will be DN. Deal value will be DV. And deal description will be DD. Alright, so save. Alright, so now that means we can fill in this form by going to this URL, going question mark, and then customer name equals business name, ampersand, so and symbol, signer name equals demo client, and signer email equals test at zohoexperts.co.uk, and deal name equals test deal, and deal value equals £500, and deal description equals let's call this 5 hours of Zoho CRM consulting, assisting you with the design and set up of your CRM. Okay, so now you can see that this form can be pre-filled by putting values into this URL. So we're going to copy that URL and we're going to use that later. Actually, let's use that now. So let's show you how we got this button here. So we go to settings, and we go to modules and fields, and we go onto the field that or the module that we're working on, which is the deals module, and then we go to links and buttons. So we're going to create a new one, so new button, and we'll call this new deal contract. And we want to view this we want to see this button on the view page, and that means that we have to be inside the deal here to see this button. Now you can also have it appear on the edit page, or you can have it appear on the list page. But when it appears on the list page, any of these list pages here, that means you have the ability to select multiple deals, and then you have to cycle through the deals to determine which one you're working on, and so your code needs to be slightly different. It's totally possible, but it wouldn't be advisable in this workflow because I'll show you how this is going to work. So we're doing this on the view page, and we want this to run a function. So we're going to call this new send deal contract. And let's copy that. There we go. Now, this is very simple code. So all we need here is the deal record ID. What I'm doing is I'm pulling in the parameter from the record. So I'm going to press the hash button or the number button, and you see it brings up the search box, and we can select the deal ID. So what we're doing here is we're saying inside our custom script, we want this deal record ID to be equal to the deal ID of the deal that we click the button in. So when we click the button in this deal, it's going to send this deal ID into the script, and we can work on it. Okay, so the first thing I always like to do in these scripts is make a return var, and I like to make that equal to error, because later we should update the return var. Okay, so if something goes wrong, then what we get out is error at the end, but we should do something in the middle here to change this return var. Now, in this case, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be opening a pop-up window. Okay, so we want to open up our form window here. So let's just take the pre-filled one in. I'm going to put that there. But now we need to fill in the data in, actually, let's do this another way. So let's call this form URL, and then we'll construct the form URL here. Okay, there we go. And we'll have this be a height of 900 by 900. Okay. Now, because of how this works, we're not actually going to get any feedback from this. We're just opening the pop-up. So in this case, I'm going to set the return var equals form opened. So if for some reason it fails before it hits here, then it'll tell us error. Otherwise, it'll tell us form opened. Okay. So what we need to do now is we want to go and get the record. So we want to say deal record equals zoho.crm.get record by ID. And this is from the deals module. And we want to feed in the deal record ID. So now the deal data is all within here. Okay. So now what we can do is we can set the values that we need from the deal. Okay. So let's do that. So firstly, an easy way to do this, something I like to do, is to use Zoho Sheets to help me create all the variables for whatever record I'm looking at. So I go into settings, I go into APIs, and then into API names, yeah, and then click on the API we're working in, or the module we're working in, and then select everything in here, and then open up a Sheets. There we go. Make a new sheet. And in here we want to paste. So we're pasting everything that we got from this API name list, and we're pasting it in here. There we go. Okay, so first things we want to do is we want to delete this, delete this, delete this, and delete this. So now we're just left with all of our field names. Now let's just make this a bit easier to read. There we go. Okay, so now each of these is what the API name of our field is. So our variable can be called this. That we're happy for our variable to be called that. So now what we want to do is we want to say the variable is equal to deal record dot get JSON, and then equals that, and then close off our little script, and then here we want to say equals that, and that, and that, and that. Okay, so what this is doing, I'll show you guys at the end. is it's helping us to automatically make these little scripts to say, for this field, inside the deal record, which we get from here, this deal record, which is bringing in all our fields from the deal. Here are all of our fields from the deal. So we're saying, for the deal record, from that, get the JSON called account name, and then call it account name, and do the same for amount, and the same for closing date, etc., etc. So, I don't know what this is at the bottom, so let's just delete this extra one. All right, so now we can take all of these values, copy them, and we can paste it into our script. There we go. And that's just a really quick way to get all of our things in perfectly without any spelling mistakes. Now, a couple of things to note. This account name is not actually the account name. This is a mini record of the account name and the account ID. So we're going to rename this to account mini record. And then we're going to make another one underneath it called account name. And we're going to say account mini record dot get JSON, and then just name lowercase. And then we do the same for account ID. Okay, so that will now get from here, it'll get the name, and from here, it'll get the ID. Now we can do the same with the contact name. So let's call this contact mini record, and we'll go contact name equals contact mini record dot get JSON name, and contact ID equals contact mini record dot get JSON ID. All right. Perfect. Now, technically, you don't need things like created by and owner and all this sort of rubbish, but you might want to include that within your form. So in our form, we don't need that data, but in yours, you might. Okay, so now what we want to do, we've got this URL. So let's separate this out. So we've got our base URL. Yeah. Oh, I think, yeah. There we go. Okay, so we've got our base URL. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to have our parameters. So an easy way to do this would be to just go form URL. Now I think it's, I can't remember what it is exactly, so we're going to do it the long way. We're going to say equals form URL plus, and now we add our parameters. So if I remember correctly, we had, no, I don't remember correctly, so let's just paste this down here, but we must remember to delete it. There we go. So it's CN. So we're going to say on the end of this form URL here, we want to append this. So we want to append a question mark, and then customer name, and then plus, customer name equals, and then plus, and then account name. Okay? And then we want to do the same again, but without the question mark. This time it'll be an ampersand. So we'll change all of this. So we'll say ampersand, and then the next one here is our signer name. You see, SN. So and SN equals, and this will be contact name. All right, and then we can just keep doing this to fill in all of our fields. Okay. DN is next, and this will be the deal name, and then we've got DV, which is the deal value, and here we will look for, what's it called in our deal, amount. Okay, and then after deal value we have the deal description. There we go. Okay, so now this should output the URL to our pre-filled form for this record. So let's just quickly check if that's the case. And we'll close that off and we'll go save and execute. We want to perform this on the demo deal. So here is our URL. Let's open that up. Aha, we forgot signer email, of course. But you see everything else has come in, so that's fantastic. So let's put in signer email. Let's put it in the right place as well. Now, I don't think we have. Yeah, we don't. So look, we don't actually have the contact's email address in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this contact email, but now we actually have to make the contact email address or fetch it. So fetch contact record, and this will be contact record equals zoho.crm.getRecordsById in the contact record or contacts module, and this will be contact ID. Okay, now once we've got our contact, we want to get their email address. So contact email equals contact record.getJSON, and then I think it's a uppercase E for email in the contact record. To check that, you would visit here, back to the API names. Now we go into contacts, and then we just scroll down. Yeah, see, uppercase E for the email. It is confusing because it doesn't keep a standard format throughout the system. But now we have our contact email, so that fills in here. Let's try this again on this deal record. And yeah, you can now see their email address is here. Perfect. Okay, so I've just put in some comments here just to show what each of these sections does. I also like to put in an extra little comment slash in between just to make some spacing, so it's really easy for me to read what's going on. Now, the final thing I'm going to do, just as a safety measure, is we're going to encode these URLs. So I've just Googled Deluge, Zoho Deluge encode URL. I'm just going to copy that, and I'm going to put each of these inside the encode URL. Okay. And let's just do that. Careful not to do what I just did there and destroy your variable. There we go. And now we just want to put a closing bracket on the end of each of these. Okay, so what this does is this is now just putting this inside an encoded URL. So in other words, if there's an and symbol or an at, like in the email address, or an exclamation mark, any sort of thing that could mess with the code, it's now being encoded in here, so that when we have the URL and it opens this window, the URL will not have problems with it, basically. So we're going to save that, save. Now we'll go back to our deal, refresh, and we want to click the new deal contract button. So here we have our pop-up. I'm having to record this pop-up separately because it didn't record in my initial video, but here you can see that after clicking the button, all of this data is automatically pre-filled, and your employee can edit the name of the deal and the description. They can't edit the value, the email address, the name, or the business name easily. However, between you and me, they can technically come up to this URL bar and fiddle with these things up here. And if they do, then that will change what's in here. There's no real way around that, or at least not one that I easily know about. I can do a bit of research into that if it's a big problem for you and you need me to find a way for us to hide this bar or make this impossible for them to change. But anyway, this is a simple way for you to be able to have your employee click a button and have this pop-up generate. This you could use for so many different things. This could be a reporting form for if there's an issue and they click the button and it pre-fills all the issue stuff into this form, and then you have some other workflow set up on the back of this form. and you can do that through Flow, Zoho Flow, which is a fantastic application. You can watch my other video about Zoho Flow, and you'll just see just how powerful it is. But in our case, we want to pre-fill a contract, and we want to send this contract out with this information in it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to close out of that, and let's go back to our form, so our actual editable form. There we go. Okay, and now let's look at the integrations. So the integrations we have are we can send this to Sign, or we can send this to Writer. Let me see how to send this to Writer. To send it to Writer, you actually do it a different way. So we're going to send it straight to Zoho Sign. We're going to integrate, and the template name is the deal contract for Zoho Sign. Yeah. Now it says there's no fields we can pre-fill. Let's quickly edit that because they should have been. And we're just going to replace this with a document which I've just blanked out those different bits that we're going to pre-fill. Okay, so now we say signer 1 is the person we want to sign this, and we go continue. And now you'll see that we've got space for all of our variables. So we're going to pre-fill the deal name and the account name. And let's delete these because we no longer need them. Okay, so pre-fill, we're going to pre-fill the account name. We want to pre-fill the deal name. Nope. There we go, text. Make sure you make these fields wide enough. So this is deal name. And then we've got deal description. Perfect. Value. Now I've left the pound sign on there because I don't think the value comes with a pound sign, but I may be wrong, in which case we would just replace this document again with the pound sign removed. Okay, so deal value, agreed by, and then we just want contact name. Where are we here? Now I'm not using the full name on purpose because I don't want the contact to write in their name. I want to pre-fill this from our form. Okay, perfect. Now your contract will obviously have a lot more information in it, but you can see the gist of how you do this. So now we save that template. Now if we go back to forms and we go to our integration, we refresh it. Okay, let's go out of this. Let's go back into integration. Let's choose Zoho Sign, integrate. Select our template, which is new deal. Boom. Okay, so here are all the things we want to pre-fill. So we've got deal name. We've got account name. Where's account name? Oh, customer name is account name. We've got deal description. We've got deal value. And we've got contact name. Boom. And now who needs to sign? Well, customer name. And what's their email? Signer email. What would you like to do? I will send the document manually. Send the document link to the recipient's email. Redirect to Zoho Sign. Well, we're going to choose this option. Send the document link to the recipient's email. Okay. So let us just check if we can do anything else with this. No, we can't. So we're going to integrate. All right. So now we are ready to go. So let's try this out, folks. So we're going to go into our record here. We're going to say new deal contract. It opens up the pop-up. It's got all this data in here, but let's take out this YouTube source because that doesn't matter. So requested service, custom Deluge scripting. Let's say 1 hour of scripting to automatically change the date format of an incoming date in Zoho Flow. Perfect. So this is what the customers will see on their contract. All right, and we can also change this if we want, but demo business name is the name of my customer, and 1 hour. That perfect. Yeah, so everything's perfect here. So we're going to click submit, and now what should happen is that should automatically be sending a Zoho sign request. So now if we go in here and we look at all in progress, we can see that there is one in progress, and we go to view it, and it's sort of worked. There's a little bit of cutoff here, so I'll show you how we can sort that out. And we might want to play with the formatting of the text so that it matches. But here we go. It was as simple as that. So now the customer will have received this to their email, and they'll be able to sign it. And your staff have had a chance to change what this says in case they need to finesse it before they send it. Now, the other way to do this is just to have it happen automatically in the background, in which case they would edit the description before this is sent, which is perfectly reasonable to do, and that might be the only way you want them to be able to send it. But I wanted to teach you this method of opening up a form in a pop-up and pre-filling the form, because that's a really powerful workaround for lots of different processes you might have in your business. So for example, in our business, when we make changes at a property, when a tenant is living in the property, we need to update the inventory document for the property that records what's in there and what's the condition of everything. So when we replace the fridge, for example, we'll want to press a button that says create inventory addendum, and it'll pop up, and our form will be pre-filled with all of their details, the property details, and then we'll just select from our options, appliance replaced, and then our form will, our form is cleverly set up, so it says, okay, what's the appliance name, model number, guarantee details, and then we click submit, and it automatically sends it to the tenant to sign. Once they've signed it, it sends a copy to the landlord, sends a copy to us. So it's very automated. I mean, this process used to take us, 20 minutes, half an hour. We used to have to make a PDF every time. Now, boom, upload a few photos, send, goes out to them to sign. It's very quick and easy. Fantastic order trail. I've got Zoho Flow set up so that when it comes back, it finds the record that this was generated from and attaches it as an attachment, saves it to their work drive folder. So you can just do so much. It's your imagination is what's holding you back, nothing else. That and potentially knowing what to do, but that's where we come in. So ask us, we'll show you how to do things. If it's really complicated and you don't have the inclination to learn and you just want to hire us to do it, then by all means go ahead and do that. We've only been doing this now, promoting our services on YouTube for about a week, maybe just over a week, and we've already got about 4 different customers we're working with for like private work. 1 small job and 3 potentially quite big jobs. Whole system redesigns, workflows, blueprints, everything. So there's lots of potential. You can watch our videos and learn for yourself, or you can contact us and we can help you do it. But today's video was just how to get the form to pop up and how to pre-fill the form and then how to send it for signature. And as you can see, that's worked quite well. You would just want to make this a bit of a wider field so that it doesn't cut off, and you might want to change the font and the size so that it all matches your contract nicely. But yeah, really happy with this functionality. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you get some value out of this video. Please like, please subscribe, please comment below. Thank you.